touch.
So I actually use two things to record. I use like Audio Hijack. I don't know if you ever heard of that, but
Yeah.
Okay, but I appreciate you recording on your end because it'll obviously help the quality.
For sure, yeah. See, let me go ahead and hit record here. Check. Yeah. There we go. 1 2 1 2. Yeah. Hey. All right, cool. Pretty healthy level. Awesome. Okay, I'm recording.
All right, sweet. I think we're recording on Zoom and the other thing. So yeah, man. Thanks for coming on. My name is Brett. I'm hosting what I call now the part-time rockstar podcast, but obviously it's cool to get some full-timers on once in a while, like yourself. Really, this will be episode 100. And honestly, wouldn't have started the podcast without listening to Tales from Green Room. So,
oh man, that's cool.
It's been fun to just meet people around the area and around the country, and just, I don't know, help promote us small time bands, kind of get a little extra streams out there, a little extra attention maybe, but mostly just making friends. So I'm glad I listened to your show, and I'm glad I did this.
Oh man, dude, cheers. Thanks so much, dude.
Cheers.
That's really cool. That's it's like I started my podcast because I got into Gary V pretty early, like a few years ago.
Yeah.
Probably like 3-4 years ago. And it's crazy to see him just exploding. But like I didn't know who he was, and I saw him on I was just scrolling through the feed, and it was like an ad for Anchor, which is who I use. That's how I create my podcast, distribute it. And he was talking about it, and I was like, I kind of want to do a podcast. Like, I've been wanting to do it, and this might be the chance to do it. And yeah, so that's how I was just like, fuck it, I'm gonna record something and just put it out there and see what happens. And it immediately got some really cool feedback, and I was excited. I just kept making them, and I think I'm on episode 144 right now. So yeah, so that's really cool that you got inspired from that. It's wild. We inspire each other.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think you're a pretty big inspiration around here. Probably goes without saying, but definitely a lot of early mornings driving into work where I was listening to you, you're like, you know what, just you're thinking about doing something, just get off your ass and do it. And it was kind of motivating. And I happened to start it like right before the shutdown, just kind of incidentally. And so that worked out even better, having that to do. Just getting into,
gives you something to do for sure. That was something to fill. You needed something to fill the time back then last year,
Yeah, and I feel like just from listening to your show and what I know about your band and stuff is that you're always in a bunch of different fields, which is interesting. You're always kind of trying a little stuff here, a little there. I mean, whether it's recording with other people around here or doing some of the media stuff that you're doing, like with the streams and all that. That's pretty interesting and cool, because I think really from any of the few full-time musicians I know, like, you gotta be doing a bunch of different things. It seems like, it's not always just promoting the show or making music videos or recording or whatever. It's like always trying out different stuff. So I feel like that's also interesting as far as what you're doing. I mean, I think you just dropped a solo album as well, the lo-fi one.
Yeah, it's just something that I wanted to do. It's called Aberrations. It's just something that I wanted to do on the side, for fun, and also a way to sort of like, challenge myself and see, how far I've come with my production abilities. And it was great. I haven't used Logic in a long time. I started on Logic, 10 years ago. And then I've since moved to Pro Tools. I find that I can move faster in Pro Tools, but you just, Logic is a great production app. And I wanted to see how, I wanted to jump back in and learn some things about it. And I find it's really easy. Like it has all you need to create a song from scratch, all the way to mastering if you want to release. Um,
Yeah.
and it has all the plugins. You don't have to, with I mean, Pro Tools has, you know, stock plugins as well, but it's just I don't know, Logic seems to have everything. It's got like the MIDI, I think, is easier to work with, and it's got all the cool software instruments, and you don't have to buy anything extra. It's like $200 and you get it, everything you need. And it was cool to dive back into that. And I don't know, I had this idea I wanted to do it for a while, and I have ideas in my head bouncing around all the time, like riffs
Yeah.
and ideas and things that the band isn't necessarily going to ever use. And but some of them I think are, in my opinion, are too cool to just kind of stay in my head. So I was
Yeah.
like, I want to get them out. Um, and I didn't have to write lyrics. It was a very like, it was kind of, cathartic, and um it was a lot of fun. And the other thing that I wanted to do was, there's getting into streaming. I started live streaming probably like 2012-ish on a
Yeah.
platform called Stage It. Before there was really,
Yeah.
there may have been Facebook Live back then, but it was, not very, uh
Yeah. Stage is still around.
Stage It is still around, yeah.
Mm.
And but I kind of, I didn't do it a whole lot because back then I didn't have like all the gear that I have now. And like I used to have to like, I didn't have space either. I was living in a 2-bedroom apartment with my then girlfriend and our
Yeah.
son. And I had to set everything up and then break it down again. But I didn't know what I was doing. So like every time I set it up, it'd take me like an hour and a half to actually get into a mode to be able to record, because I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
how come I'm not hearing myself? Oh, it's too loud. I didn't know what I was doing. So I was
Yeah.
sort of like stifled as far as like keeping up with the streams. And then I didn't like the fee that they were taking either. They take like, they're taking like 40% of the revenue or something. I was like, that's kind of weird. I
Wow.
don't know what they do now, but it was just kind of like, and
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out, I was like, how can I make money? Like, how can I use my talents and make money? I had a baby, it was like
Yeah.
very scary. Um, but uh, doing all the streaming the last couple years now, I've seen that like there's not a lot of good like music for streamers, um,
Mhm.
and podcasters, and video, content creators. And I was like, it'd be cool to just put this thing out and not do the usual copyright stuff. Like it's copywritten, but it's like I still own it. But I
Yeah.
basically made it so there, if you use it in a video or in the background in your stream while you're playing video games or something, or just chatting with your homies, that you're not going to get a copyright claim. Um,
Nice.
yeah, so like it's
Was that is
DMCA.
that tricky to do? Like either in DistroKid or however you release stuff?
Yeah, so I release everything through DistroKid, and
Mhm.
it's not hard. You just basically don't tick the box that says, YouTube content
Yeah.
or anything. And as far as I know, I've seen a few people that they've sent me videos that they've made of like a vlog, or like, cool drone
Mhm.
footage, or some kids did like a dance or something to one of the tracks that I did, and like this is really cool. And so as far as I know, they're not getting claimed or anything. And the thing about the YouTube content ID and Twitch, I forget what Twitch's algorithm is called, but the music scanner, uh
Yeah.
it's not perfect. So, like as a matter of fact, one of the songs early on, I just threw it in one of my streams one time, and then immediately when I stopped the live, I got a copyright claim, and I'm like, what is this shit? I wrote this.
Yeah.
Fine. And it was like some song from like a Brazilian artist or something from like the 70s. I guess one of the melodies maybe triggered something, and it thought it was
Yeah.
that song, and it clearly is not that track. And so what I did was I created I got there's a sync license that you can download from my website, and I have all the tracks available for download for free on my website if you want to use them. But there's a sync license there. You probably won't ever need it, but just in case you do, to show that you're allowed to use it, you can use that to file your, if you want to keep monetizing. But yeah, I want to make it so like people can monetize their videos still and not, and I'll never
Okay.
send. What a lot of people don't know is that a takedown notice, like when you get like for YouTube, the copyright strike, or
Yeah.
with Twitch is a DMCA takedown notice. Those come from the label or the copyright owner.
Okay.
And because it's me doing it and there's no label involved or anything like that, there's not a whole lot of red tape. I'm not going to send you a takedown notice. So don't worry
Yeah.
about it. Even if you get claimed for some reason and you can't monetize your video for any reason, which you should be able to, I'm not
Mhm.
going to come ask you to take a video down. I'm pushing this. I want people to use it. So
No, that's cool. I mean, my cousin's been doing commercials for the company that he works for, just like video ones for like running shoes. And like he's actually been having a hard time getting music like that for it. So I've been just, whipping something up in GarageBand or something for him. And I didn't know that you could also release it as well. That's cool. Because there's also like other websites, I guess, where you could get stuff like Splice. I don't know if you use that for just random sound effects.
mhm.
But yeah, no, it's
Yeah,
cool.
there's Epidemic Sound is like the big one that a lot of YouTubers use for
Mhm.
cool ambient music or sound effects and things. I just found that like on the if you're looking for some cool music, sometimes it's not great like a lot of the stuff that you find, and it's not the
Yeah.
vibe you're looking for. So just trying to like help fill that space and um see if it's there if people want to use it.
Yeah. Yeah, I was listening to it this morning while I was making coffee. It's perfect.
Oh, thanks.
Doesn't
I
doesn't distract you or anything like that.
That's rad. Yeah, I tested it out before it came out. I was like playing it a lot, like while I was you know, vibing out or driving or
Yeah,
cooking or what or working on something, and it is cool. It's definitely something for whatever any occasion really, like background of a party, chilling on the boat. Maybe you're trying to get some work done. Maybe you're cleaning the house, um,
yeah,
stuff like that.
yeah. Is like driving around the car still like one of your favorite ways to test stuff, or do you don't have something else?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the car test is always like ultimate because you're spending a lot of your time listening to music in the
Yeah,
car, on a road trip or whatever. I run errands a lot, shipping things and
yeah,
obviously I have two kids, so there's a lot happening all the time. Um, yeah, driving around, it's great because that like I said, that's where you take in a lot of your music. So you want to make sure it sounds good in the car. And I tend to throw in the AirPods when I'm referencing as well. Like I'll reference my
yeah,
AirPods. I know how they sound. I have the AirPods Pro, and like I know how they sound. And so like I tend to when I'm done with a mix or something, I'll throw them in and walk around the
yeah.
house, make some coffee or whatever, do the dishes, just throw, and yeah,
Yeah, I always get a little paranoid when I like mix something, usually the podcast or whatever, through the earbuds, and then go to listen in the car. Because usually I'll been kind of lazy and just downloaded it or uploaded it. Then I'll listen on Spotify. I'm like, wow, this is a little drastically different. Like the background music will be much quieter and much louder than I thought. I don't know if somehow when it goes through the streaming services, if it changes just a little, or if it's just the difference between listening on a speaker and a headphone.
that's
So
exactly what it is. It's the environment. It's like your house probably isn't um you know uh like properly treated,
yeah,
you know uh it's not like I realized after listening to music on my monitors for a year and a half of not touring and being stuck in the house and working here and then in headphones and AirPods and things, I noticed how bad our sound system is in our van. It's so bad, like it's so
yeah.
like tinny and just like I feel like the sound just bounces off the windshield the way that the speakers are
Mhm.
based, and like it just makes this really awful sound. Um like you're listening in a can or something.
Yeah,
And so yeah, it's like you want to be able to like I totally understand the laziness part, and you're thinking it's just a podcast, like how good does it have to sound? Like people
yeah,
just want to hear me talk anyway. But I've had so many, oh, dude, especially I mean, I'd say the first 100 episodes for sure, like where
Yeah.
there, it just, I listen in the car from here, taking the car and like
Mm.
pull it up on Apple or something, and it's just like, ugh, like this sounds so
Yeah.
bad. The background music isn't right, or the background music's too loud, or my vocals distorted, or like there's too much compression or something.
Yeah.
Just, you know, uh, yeah, I'm right there
I'm
with you.
I'm trying to find that sweet spot. So there's like a regularity or a consistency to it. Because I have heard from other people who run podcasts, it's like once you can kind of find that and dial it in, then people aren't like jarred when they listen to it once in a while where you completely got the levels all whacked out. But I figure it's just a learning curve.
Yeah, I would have my back in the day, like Anchor would have, you could do ads, and then I don't know, they stopped doing that, but I
Yeah.
would do ad reads, and the ad reads would be like super loud, and then
Yeah.
the podcast would not, and they'd have to, constantly be, checking the levels, and I get how frustrating that is for sure. I'm sure like some of my pods are unlistenable, you know, but
Yeah. Yeah.
learning.
It's about what you're talking about, hopefully, and less about the quality.
Sure.
Even with me, even with songs, I would hope, Um, kind of going back to what you were talking about with recording with Logic and Pro Tools and whatnot. When you're recording with other people, either around town or I noticed you also went down to Texas to record with the Audit guys.
Yeah.
What are you doing then? Are you kind of bringing gear, or when you get there, you just kind of like work with the situation?
Yeah, well, like when I fly, I try to be minimal.
Yeah,
Like try to take as least things possible. But if I feel like, I have a I have a few mics, but I think for that session, I don't think I took anything. I think because they had everything, and we sort of put together. Uh, I mean, they got a pretty cool setup over there. Like,
yeah,
uh, you know, we obviously noticed some things that could be adjusted, some things could be tweaked for as going forward. But I mean, we made a record. I mean, we did like 17 tracks
yeah.
in
They're still coming out right now, I'm pretty sure.
yeah, they've been rolling out this
Yeah,
whole year. And there's a few left out of the ones out of the batch, and I think I'm still waiting on a few tracks from them, like Travis guitar solos and things.
yeah,
But yeah, I mean, you just go there. I take my laptop with me, and it's one of the 2019 a 16-inch. It's
yeah.
I got it. Whenever I buy a laptop or a computer, like I try to spec it out as high as I can without losing my ass. But I do that because I need to sort of future proof it. Um,
Yeah,
and so I'll spend a little bit more just to make sure I have, it's going to last me about 5 years. Whenever I get a MacBook, it's usually like 4 to 5 years is about my
yeah,
before I upgrade again. Before I find like things start lagging and stuff. So I'll take the laptop and I'll get it set up with their interface, and uh,
yeah.
we just go.
Yeah, by the way, the new M1 MacBooks just came out either last week or the week before. And my girlfriend works in tech, so she's all stoked on it. She just got one in. Apparently, they're like beating everything, even $50,000 machines when it comes to like video editing and stuff like that, like editing 8K, like it's nobody's business. So I'm definitely interested in what this year.
Incredible. Yeah,
Yeah.
I watched that whole keynote. I watched all their keynotes, and
Okay, cool.
I'm absolutely an Apple fanboy.
Yeah.
I love an A, but
Yeah.
they the M1 Pro, M1 Max, like, oh,
Yeah.
dude, like I want it so
Uh,
bad, and
don't
I just bought an M1 Mac Mini, like
okay.
back in July, I think. Um,
Yeah.
and it's of course now the new one's out, but uh,
Yeah.
it
Oh,
it's I don't know. I have the M1. It's Mac Mini. It works great. Uh, it's it's still there's Pro Tools is still Pro Tools is Pro Tools. It's still gonna
yeah.
get the spinning ball of death, and things won't start exactly. But like Final Cut and all the apps that are like Apple, and they're optimized to run on that
Yeah.
chip, it's just it's just butter for the most part.
Mm. Nice. Yeah, I mean, I was a little fortunate that, like I said, I had her telling me like, don't buy it yet, just wait. Um, because she keeps her ear to the ground and that stuff. I was kind of curious though, because I did talk to Ronnie from Monic Empire on a previous episode, and he mentioned like how motivating I guess it was to have you there, and that also you were kind of like holed up the whole time, like you probably never left the bunker, basically. So I was kind of curious if you got out into Austin at all. I mean, during that time, or if you really were just like in there, just kind of, I don't know.
We were we were on a tight schedule. I think I only
Yeah.
had 5 or 6 days with those guys to get as much as we could.
Okay.
And I,
Yeah.
when it's like that, I'm good. I'm good when I feel like I'm good under pressure when it's like crunch time. Um, and I went outside for 5 minutes outside of Brian's house where they have the studio out
Yeah.
back, check out the backyard. It's kind of like a party yard. He's got a smoker
Mhm.
back there and all that. And he was showing me the smoker, and that was it. It was like for 5 minutes,
Yeah.
like 10 in the morning, and yeah, I would get up at like 8 or 9 and just start working,
Yeah.
and they'd show up around noon, because I'm trying to edit. I try to edit
Mhm.
in the morning, and then they show up, and then we get more done, and then I'd work
Yeah.
until, you know, 10 or midnight every night, and then get up the next morning, do the same thing, cup of coffee. Brian's an amazing cook. He would make me breakfast, and then I'd grab coffee, and then I'd start editing.
Yeah.
It was the same thing every day. Um, yeah, that I try to motivate the artists, and try to keep them positive, because it can be a stressful process, especially when you're on that sort of schedule, where there's not a lot of time. It was just kind of
Yeah.
like working out for me because it was like December, so it was like the holidays, coming up.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but it was great, and I learned something every time, and you start to learn how different artists think and how they work, and um, they taught me a couple tricks as well. So it was just doing this has been a really cool experience all around. I've worked with a lot of artists now, and it's just fun.
Yeah.
Those guys are cool and fun, and um, yeah, I'm just happy to do work with them.
Yeah, man. They seem like a good group. I've been trying to get down there to Lake Travis because I got a buddy out there. I was like, I don't know, just looks like a good time. But yeah, I mean, kind of switching gears a little bit. One thing I figured I just sort of, I don't know if this is a question or more of just observation, but like maybe 10, 15 years ago, when I was going to like punk and metal shows and all that, everybody was sort of in their, I don't know, their clique or whatever, and everybody wore like the same shit and was a fan of the same bands, and kind of wore the same gear or whatever. And I never thought that would sort of eventually spill over to reggae in the genre, because as I'm playing out like little acoustic shows here and there, I'm actually meeting people that are like kind of bona fide hardcore reggae fans now, like and largely because of bands like you guys around here and bumping, of course, but then the sort of bigger guys like our 30 Eds and Revolution and all that. So I'm just kind of curious, like, in your perspective, I don't know, is it kind of wild to watch that evolve over the years, or maybe I don't know.
No, you're right. I mean, it has been wild to watch. Like, I've talked about this before, where it's like back when we were coming up, um, it was I didn't know what we were doing. Like, there was no, like, I didn't know
Yeah,
we were playing like reggae rock. Like, we eventually kind of figured that that's what it was. We were like, well, we play like reggae and like
yeah,
rock, and like I guess it's reggae rock. It's kind of like,
mhm,
we weren't the first to say that, I'm sure, but um yeah, it was just like I liked that Southern California sublime,
yeah,
reggae sound. I was down with all the ska stuff in the late '90s, no doubt, and Real Big Fish and Suicide Machines, Goldfinger,
mhm,
um, and I just I tend to want to do everything because I'm just so scatterbrained with,
yeah,
that's why I do all the things that I do, because like I enjoy making stuff, and I enjoy different sounds. When what you said earlier about like, people listening to probably listening to emo and pop punk and stuff in the 2000s, and now they're like
Yeah,
reggae fans. It's like I feel like, maybe we were a little bit of a bridge for that because we do both. So we, people kind of got conditioned, and then just they start finding other bands, and maybe I don't know, maybe they saw a Pepper show and then they found Ballyhoo, who knows? But um, I just know that like in 2006, 2007, you started seeing, Pepper and Slightly Stupid, and then like another year or so later, it was like Iration, and then Revolution, and then Stick Figure
yeah,
comes along, and you just start seeing these shows, and it's like now it's like Cali Roots sells out, One Love. Well, now it's called Cali Vibes. Reggae Rise Up. Uh, we just did the Baja Sessions thing in Cabo
yeah,
last week. It's really cool to see, and I love how it's under the radar. It's not like on the radio. And I honestly
mhm,
hope that a lot of this stuff doesn't get on the radio. It's just like I I,
yeah,
I don't think like radio is gonna ruin it. If it gets, it's just gonna become this thing, and it's gonna get too popular.
yeah,
And I love the steady growth that it's been, because I feel like if we can stay away from like all the major, like the corporations and
yeah,
that, like, then we can the growth is gonna last a lot longer, and it'll flourish even more. And yeah, it's to I remember going from in 2011, we were on our way to our first tour with Pepper and the Expendables, when Daydreams was coming out, and this is 10
yeah,
years ago. And we played St. Louis on the way out, and we were like, we should try to make a little money, and just get us some practice so we sound good on the first night of the tour.
yeah,
And we get there, and there's like, nobody there. And it was whatever, and there was some bands opening for us that didn't sound anything. It just wasn't like a good show. It wasn't a well put together show. um
yeah,
and like a year later, maybe two, we come back through, and the place is packed, and there's like three reggae rock bands opening for us. It's
wow,
wild. It's wild.
yeah,
Like, it started popping up in pockets all over. We'll go to like Boise, Idaho, and there's like a sellout show there, you know,
mhm,
with people that are all into this music. I feel like music nowadays isn't about genre anymore. It's about vibe. It's about just
right,
feel, and you can listen to Slipknot, but you can also listen to, Stick Figure or something, or Steel Pulse.
yeah. It's definitely a lot deeper and broader conversation for sure. But I do feel like kind of within the culture and within the zeitgeist, people are looking for positivity. And as I'm sure you're aware, that kind of comes in waves, whether we're talking about the 60s, and the 70s, 80s, 90s as decades go, or just even in smaller intervals. And I do get the strong sense from going to a lot of reggae shows that people just kind of they want to feel good. And I'm not saying that everyone who goes to metal shows per se or anything like that is angry or anything like that. But there's a different energy there, and I do feel like wherever we're at now, maybe as a culture, um, man, like people definitely just want to kind of find those pockets of positivity. And if reggae rock in particular is like driving some of that, then it's cool.
It is cool, and I've been, sort of, it's perplexed in a way. Like you'll see, because the music is so, the majority of this sound and this music is kind of based in like a positive vibe, like good vibes only,
Mhm.
chill type of thing. Um, it's like, it's all types of people are listening to this music that, people that you wouldn't think. Like I've seen, people at shows that like are also putting, right wing talking points on their Instagram
Yeah,
stuff. Like it's interesting to me. It's like, um, uh, but it just shows that the music just connects to people, and I
yeah,
don't know, for whatever reason, and we try to put out like a positive message, uh, but with us as well, like our style, like I I'm a depressed person at times, and
Mhm.
and I write about that. So like, it's not always like, the
Yeah,
rainbow roses, or whatever.
the juxtaposition or whatever, sad lyrics, happy sounding music,
That's
stuff
always
like
been
that.
my thing, man. Yeah, always.
Yeah.
That's a big thing. I like writing like happy, like upbeat stuff, but like sad lyrics, like there's a cool dynamic.
Yeah.
And it's so, and in a way, I think it makes it seem like it's gonna be all right. Like, and I,
Mhm.
I want to let people know that like they're not alone in their feelings. And there are bands in this genre that do, it's all like, it's all positive. It's like,
Mhm.
the you know the light of day type of thing, and like, um and that's great too. But like for me, it's like, I'll write both. I'll write some happy shit. I like writing shitty love songs, like,
Yeah.
broken hearts stuff. But it's also like, we get depressed, and it's a wild time we're living in. So, and I want to be, honest about that. And
Yeah.
people go to shows to escape. They go to shows to escape. They listen to music to escape. I know for me, I've listened to sad songs to be sad, like to sort of like,
Yeah.
uh,
Some country tunes.
yeah, like, like I'll go listen to like old R&B songs or something, or uh,
Yeah.
you know, stuff from like, what am I trying to say? Like, the fucking old, like, Mary J. Blige, like, Real Love, like, that's such a
Yeah.
great song. I listen to like Bruno Mars got a couple great like love songs. Just to sort of like, I don't know, live in it, and sort of, I don't know, it just makes me feel better. I
Yeah.
don't, even though I'm like sitting there sad or something, I feel better. you know, it's strange. I'm a weird dude.
Yeah. It's catharsis, even if you gotta feel the sadness, I guess. It happens. How was that tour with the Expendables, by the way, since you just brought them up? I mean, it looked like you guys had a pretty good run there, and I imagine the momentum was probably good.
Yeah, man, it was awesome. It was great. It was a weird, it was like the best but most weirdest tour ever, because it was
Yeah.
a lot of the we had a COVID protocol where
Mhm.
we didn't leave the bus. We went straight from the bus to the stage, and then
Gotcha.
from the stage back to the bus. We didn't talk to anybody. We didn't,
Mhm.
usually we're the band that since the beginning has always gone to the merch table after the
Yeah.
show and high-fiving people and taking pictures and hanging out, signing stuff, and a lot of times ending up at the bar with people, which is
Yeah.
can be a good and bad thing. But um yeah, like, we didn't do any of that this time. And I had to explain a few times, on the DM or something, like, hey, sorry, we're not hanging out this
Yeah.
time. Usually we have a lot of friends. We've been touring for,
Mhm.
15 years, and we have a lot of friends out there, and most of them we couldn't see. And
Yeah.
uh
It sucks.
and then of course, we got half the bus got COVID. Me and got COVID. We're trying, and we still got it,
Yeah.
which was weird. So we had to miss about, I think, 5 shows on the West Coast, which really sucked because we were looking forward to playing California.
Yeah.
Um, and and then there was, the COVID protocols by the venues themselves. Some of these
Mhm.
venues are, uh, Live Nation or AEG, and they're the ones saying, either a negative test within 48 hours, or fully
Yeah.
vaxxed card. And a lot of tickets, were left on the table because of that. Like, people, there's people that don't want to do that, and you know, whatever. I just like, for me, when they announced that, um, when those promoters started announcing that, immediately was like, yeah, I agree with this. Whatever, I support it, because we just was shut down for 18 months.
Yeah.
Like, what do you want us to do? Like, I'm sorry,
Mhm.
you don't get to go to the show then. Be like, all these people that didn't work this whole time. They don't think about the road crew, and like the people working at the venues, the
Yeah.
promoters and things, the bartenders, and um, it's like they're not thinking about that. And like these people struggled for a long time, and now here's their chance to get back to work, and
Yeah.
you're gonna cry about it. I get it. Like you want to be able to go to shows and stuff, but it's like, I don't know, just bring your negative test then, bro. If you don't think you have it, just bring your negative test. What's the big deal?
Yeah.
That was my thing. To me, I felt like, when people started like fighting that and getting pissy in like the comments and stuff, when a band makes a post, Cashed Out made like one of the first posts in the whole genre about this, and people were like, shit,
Mm.
like what the fuck, this bullshit. I can't believe you guys support this.
Yeah.
It's like, bro, it's not the band, it's the fucking venues, it's the promoters. But at
Yeah.
the same time, everybody wants to get back to work, bro. Like,
Yeah.
what's to do, man? We just shut down for you for a year and a half. So
Yeah. I
I
mean,
fully supported it, even though ticket sales suffered.
yeah. Do you feel like that was kind of across the board nationally, or did you feel like once you got into like the Midwest, or like say, I mean, obviously like Texas or Florida, where it was the crowds were bigger, or
Yeah, I mean
yeah.
the a lot of the venues in like Texas, Florida, like they weren't doing that. They weren't,
Mm.
having any mandates or anything. So a lot of the shows were really good
Yeah.
in those areas. And it's like I go back and forth with it too. Like I feel like we're approaching, like it's almost time to like just kind of let this go. I don't know how much longer. I mean, obviously we're gonna keep doing it if that's what it is, but
Yeah.
like what, you know, it's a very
Yeah.
big, deep hole you can go into talking about this shit, but I just want to get back.
Yeah.
We all want to get back to normal.
Yeah, I think that's the bottom line. Like, no matter what people got to do, or whatever political things have to happen, or whatever rules have to be made up, it's just like yeah. I was the first person in my fire department actually to get it because I'm like a paramedic, and that feels like 2 years ago. I mean, like it's close to that anyway. So I've just been kind of feeling like, man, this thing's still going. Like, I don't, I don't know how else to
I was
say.
reading about was it Singapore, or there was like Singapore, it was a couple countries, Singapore and Norway maybe. They they were like 80% or even like 90% vaxxed, like the whole
Yeah.
country, and they still are dealing with numbers, they're like cases,
Mm.
because you can still get it, but like it, and they're deciding to live with it. They're like, okay, we're lifting all the mandates. We're just gonna
Yeah.
live with this. I feel like we'll just have to do that probably sometime next year. Just be like, all right, we're just gonna live with this. If you're vaxxed, if you chose to get it,
Yeah.
if not, like that's on you. There are the children now, like that. I have kids. Like I don't want my kids to get sick, but there's also studies show that they're not, it doesn't affect them like it affects us, and
Yeah.
it's really mostly affecting people like 55 and older, and people that
Yeah.
have weight problems and underlying health issues. So it's sort of like, okay, do we just just open it back up and move forward? When do we do this? When can we stop wearing the mask and everything? I'm happy to wear a mask. I'll do what I got to do, but like,
Yeah.
fuck, it's like it's exhausting. We're gonna get
Yeah.
almost 2 years now, so
Yeah. I think society's getting definitely a little fatigued
yeah.
for sure. But yeah, we don't want to go down the political rabbit hole too far here, probably.
Yeah.
And also, I don't know how much time you got. We're closing in about 40 minutes here. But again, I appreciate any time you do have, because like I said, it's kind of cool to make it to episode 100 and get somebody big on like yourself.
Dude.
So
First off, I'm honored that you'd have me for your 100th episode. Second, 100 episodes, bro. That's fucking awesome. That's good for you, man. There's a lot of people that start things like this and then they don't follow through. They get it out of their system, and it just whatever, for whatever reason they stop. 100 episodes. That's great, man.
yeah, man, thank
Congrats.
you. That's at the end of the day, like I said, it's just fun making more friends. It's certainly not gonna hurt, and trying to get people's music out there. One thing I did cross my brain here was I learned "Message to the World's" guitar solo. I wasn't sure if you saw it like during the quarantine, I think it was. And that was a lot of fun. I know you guys had the sort of guitar. Um, I don't want to say it was like Guns N' Roses when the guitar spot opened up and everybody was clamoring to join the band, but I was just curious. like how that all went. If you got like a bunch of submissions, or if like a bunch of friends hitting you up like kind of out of the blue, or like how that all went down to find the guitar player.
It was cool. It was I I had like I've been wanting to get a second guitar player for a
Yeah.
long time, at least 10 years, And when the pandemic hit, and we were just like, we're not doing shit. We might as well do this now. Like, let's reach out.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things you got to think about too. So like, when you add someone to the band, that's another salary, that's more per diem, that's another mouth to
Hmm.
feed, that's another spot in the van, and we're already maxed out on spots, it's very tight in there already.
Yeah.
Um, it's another hotel room, it's a lot of things. There's a lot more overhead that comes with that, but it was 100%,
Yeah.
200% worth it, because I knew that it was going to help bring the show to another level. It was going to
Yeah.
bring the sound up like to another level, and then take the show, make it more fun and interesting. And I've always wanted to have somebody that could just shred the guitar. So when we were now I didn't do this until after Message to the World. So when Message to the World, we were working on it, I was like, we need like a dope ass solo on this song.
Yeah.
Like we need something cool. So I had become friends with Kyle Ahern of Revolution, also a great
Gotcha.
soloist.
Yeah.
He's a sick guitar player, man.
Mm.
And we did a run together on an acoustic run with him and Eric Rachmani, that like a few months before this. And so I stayed in touch, and I was like, bro, do you want to like play on this track? Like, it'd be awesome.
Yeah.
He's like, hell yeah, man, send me the track. Like 2 days later, I get this just fire, and like
Yeah.
send it to the guys, and they're like, oh shit,
Mhm.
and like it just clicked, man. I was like, this is what we needed. This right here
Yeah.
is gonna, it's just gonna evolve the band in such a cool way. Um, like we needed this. So I can't play that shit. And I was like, there's no fucking
Mhm.
way I can play that shit. It's not, that's not my style of guitar. I
Yeah.
play pop punk fucking three chord
Yeah.
Billy Joe Armstrong, even though Billy Joe Armstrong is a really great guitar player, he plays solos and shit. But I never try to do that really ever. Yeah, I do more melodic stuff, more vocal
Yeah.
melody type of shit on the guitar. I was like, I would love to have that dynamic. So talked to the guys, and it wasn't the first time I talked about it. And they were like, yeah, I mean,
Mm.
we can't go back now. Like we can't,
Yeah.
who's going to play the solo live? We can't not play the song. And then we can't not have the solo if we play it. We'll just be an empty spot. Like F that. So,
Yeah.
so I was like, all right, I made my little list of demands. It was this fucking
Yeah.
song on
No, I
Facebook,
remember reading it. It was pretty funny. It
bro.
was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
Must be willing to go to the gym
Yeah.
or something."
Yeah, yeah. Must not have problem, must not be a drug addict, not an
Yeah.
alcoholic. We drink, but not like that, bro. Um,
Yeah.
don't be a fucking douchebag. No chain wallets, no tap out shirts, you know,
Yeah.
yeah, shit like that. And just the whole thing was, was like I wanted to also in this list show the type of person we were looking for. Somebody that if you get all these little jokes that I'm throwing in here, that's how
Yeah.
we talk all the time. Like that's how we
Mm.
joke and vibe. So we need someone that's gonna be like that with us. Silly and shit. And one of the things was like one of the requirements was like if you don't think Big Trouble in Little China is one of the greatest movies of all time, don't even apply. Like just shit like that. And I got flooded, the DMs
Yeah.
got flooded. And um you have to sort of weed through some things, and I could tell some people just weren't ready for this, and some people were
Yeah.
just excited to do it, and some younger, like some kids and some like teenagers, I thought it was cool, man. It was really neat that anybody even wanted to be in this band.
Yeah.
um but there was one guy that stuck out, Sebastian, who ended up
Yeah.
joining the band. But he sent me a couple videos, and I knew him from a band he played in. He opened up for us with his band, like I don't know, 6 7 years, 5 6 years ago.
Yeah.
And he he's like, "Hey man, what do you think of this? Like, is this kind of the vibe you're talking about?" And he played the solo, and he like nearly like nailed it, like Kyle. And I knew that nobody's gonna play that solo like Kyle. That's a Kyle
Mm,
solo. But Sebastian crushed it, and I was like, "Oh shit, okay, he can play it." And then he sent me a couple others to some old Ballyhoo songs, and he's just riffing over it. Like, man, this sounds awesome. Sent it to the guys. And then it's sort of like I was like, "Hey man, I'll let you know what's going on. We're not doing anything right now." And there's no at that time, we didn't know what was happening with the virus. Like we there was no
yeah.
vaccine yet. Like we nobody was we're still pretty much on lockdown. Um, and then I invited him to play our Halloween stream last year. And so he came up, and we rehearsed a couple times, and then we did the stream, and it just felt right. Like he's a good dude. Um, he he takes the like he understands, like he knows that he's walking into this, and like I want people to do what they want to do for sure, but there's also like
Mhm.
I've just told him a few times, like, hey, try this and try that, and hey, don't do that here, don't do this here. Like there's a certain way that I like things to be, but he takes it very well, and he's like, cool, yeah, whatever, and whatever you need, basically. And he's just a good dude, man. And I'm glad we have him, and the shows have been so much fun. The crowd loves when we get up there and do little solos together, and like little, dueling
Yeah.
shit, and it's been great.
Yeah, man. I saw you guys at Crazy Tuna. It was a good show. It's also a packed house, which is cool. Right
That
there
was like
on the water.
what the first show back, I think, really. That show was
Yeah,
insane, actually.
it was wild.
Dude, the place I think was overpacked, I'd say.
Probably.
Yeah, it was
Not
nuts.
sure if it
Oh,
was following guidelines per se,
and
but nonetheless, it was cool to see people get out there and all that. Yeah. Well, I guess probably wind this thing down. Kind of traditionally, what I've been doing with this podcast is if there are fan groups, like for the bands, obviously you guys got the hooligans, try to jump in there and like, get a couple from the fans. Um, I guess we'll go with this one. This one isn't necessarily related to you guys per se, but I think she just wants to get your thoughts on, I don't know if you saw what happened at Astro World Festival with the big crowd surge. This one comes from Erica Hudson from the Hooligans. She was just curious about your thoughts on that. And I don't know, it's kind of sad, but I don't know.
it's unfortunate. It's tragic,
Yeah.
you never want to see this type of thing happen at a show, or any sort of gathering, it's like things are coming in, and I saw some videos. um I don't want to judge or anything.
Yeah.
Obviously, there needs to be an investigation, but like whenever I see any sort of like violence, or somebody, like I saw, oh my god, I saw some chick like punching this other chick in the head, like at a show
Man.
one time. Like I don't know what the deal was. They got
Yeah.
in front of her. I don't know what it was, man. Pulling her hair, punching her in the face and the side of the head. I stopped the show. I'm like, yo, get the fuck out of here. What are you doing? Like that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, and I've only had to do that a couple times, where you see things getting too wild. Uh, just recently we had, I forget where we were at, but there were kids pressed up against the barricade, and there was a mosh pit starting, and we're all about, dude, fucking mosh, go for it, have a great time.
Yeah.
But there's a you know
There's a line.
yeah, there's a line. Someone falls down, you pick them up. We all know that, or we should know that. Um, but these kids started getting squished. I could see it,
Man.
and at between songs, and I know I sounded like a lame like dad or something, but I'm like, hey guys, look, I love everybody's having a good time. Just be careful right here. Try to keep it over there. There's these kids right here, and I don't want them to get squished. Like anybody,
Yeah.
these little kids are like 8. We
Yeah.
have kids at our shows. Parents bring their kids. So to me, there's a responsibility with the artist, and if you don't see it, I mean, that's one thing. But it seemed like a lot of people were trying to get his attention,
Yeah.
just from what I saw, and his like apology video didn't seem very honest.
Hmm.
it seems like, oh, I need to do something to get out of this, you know. Um,
Yeah.
it's a tough situation, but I mean, it seems pretty obvious. Like, dude should have stopped the show. I think
Yeah.
security was, from what I've from certain accounts, like security wasn't super like responsive to it.
Hmm.
Like, oh, we're dealing with something else, like whatever, and they're trying to say, yo, people are getting killed, people are getting squashed.
Yeah.
It's just a unfortunate situation, and I would be fucking devastated if something like that ever happened at one of our shows. Happy to say that no one, as far as I know, no one's ever died at a Ballyhoo show.
Yeah.
But man, what a terrible terrible thing. I think
Yeah.
it is a responsibility of the artist to keep things in check, you know. And
Yeah.
somebody should have told him. If he didn't see it, somebody, a crew
Yeah.
member, his, you know, somebody backstage, somebody side stage, somebody in the front, a security guard should have said, yo, shut this shit down right now. Like, stop, you know, turn the lights on.
Yeah. You would even think like the front of house would be able to jump on the mic through the PA and just be like, "Hey, everybody, chill out. We're gonna stop this."
Yeah, I've had my front of house guy scream at me many times in my ears about some things that are
Yeah.
happening. Like,
So
yeah, I think he should have, you know, I don't know. I don't know. It's
yeah, I don't know. Kind of a tough situation,
I
tough
want people to
question, but
you know,
yeah, I guess she just kind of want to get your thoughts on that. Nick
but
Bader already covered the carpets matching the drapes. I think you went with hardwood floors there. So
all hardwood
uh,
floors here.
so we got that covered for the fans.
Asking the important questions, man. That's what the people
Yep,
want to know.
yep. Stephanie Hamilton asked what kind of made you want to sing? She asked it in a way which was like, what song did you sing in the car before you started a band? But I feel like you've been playing so long, you were probably in a band before you were driving a car. Um, so maybe she just got, I don't know, in general, what made you want to sing, I guess.
Um, I was in love with uh bands like Motley Crue and Rat and Poison
Yeah.
when I was a kid, Cinderella. Um, I loved all that 80s glam stuff. And I also loved like um Tiffany and Debbie Gibson.
Yeah.
I didn't like have their records, but like the songs that came on the radio, I liked the singles. I liked the melodies. Um, I liked the old doo-wop stuff. Um,
Mhm.
you know, uh, fucking Earth Angel, and it's just, I don't know, just singing just
Yeah.
such like a cool way to express yourself. It just felt nice, and I sang when I was a kid, but it wasn't like,
Mhm.
I was a kid, in the backseat, singing
Yeah.
80s metal songs. But um, yeah, my dad took my brother and I to see Rat and Poison in '87.
Nice.
We were very little kids, and it stuck, man. I remember a lot about that night. I remember, I think you could still smoke in the arena.
Yeah.
Like it was there. It was just the lights, the sounds. It was very loud. People were screaming, singing along, and the band was all dressed up and all that get up, and uh, I was hearing the songs that I was listening to in the car, or at home on the tape deck,
Yeah.
and it was just I don't know, something about it. It just stuck, man. And then I got into R&B, like Boys to Men and Shanice and TLC, um, you know, all that stuff, Crisscross, all that shit, man. And
Yeah.
I'd sing all those songs. I tried to rap when I was like 11, um, it's just, and then Nirvana, and then Green Day. And Green Day is still my favorite band of all time. It just picked up, and then I finally decided to start a band. I always wanted to start a band. Like, we used to play band, my brother and I, in our room.
Yeah.
He'd grab like
Yeah.
pencils and play air drum. I would
Yeah.
grab a pencil like it was a mic, and we'd set up our stuffed animals on the bed and pretend we were having a show, and bounce off the walls singing Skid Row and shit. Like, um, finally, I think it was 94. I started playing guitar, and then 95 we started the band.
Oh yeah. Cool. Yeah. So that answers Stephanie. And then last one, Angel States. Hopefully I'm saying that the right way. She just kind of wanted to ask if you still get the same thrill performing now as you did in the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, it's never quite like the first time, you know.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest, like the first time I can remember, just I wish that I could feel that feeling of the first time. I wish
Yeah.
that I could be 15 years old again and like get that feeling of walking up like that. I was so nervous, dude. I was so
Yeah.
nervous. Like it was our first time. I was excited. It was excited, nervous, but I was just like, oh my God, this is gonna suck. This is gonna be great. This is gonna suck. It's gonna be great.
Yeah.
And we walked up there and we opened up with a Green Day song. We actually played like 10 Green Day songs that night.
Yeah.
We played like 25 songs, but I think we played for like an hour, 40 minutes our first time. And
Mhm.
it was just a handful of songs that I had written and then a bunch of cover songs. And within the first 30 seconds, minute of that song, I was like, this is fucking awesome. Like this shit. Like I want to do this
Yeah.
forever. Oh, this is so sick. And like, yeah, all the kids in the gym were going. I mean, there might have been 50 kids there going nuts, like
Yeah.
everybody singing along, and it was so fucking cool. And then that was a Friday night, and then that Monday morning, people were like, "Oh, that was so fun!" Like
Yeah.
just getting that, like it was awesome, man. So I get something like that every time I play. It's there's definitely times where I'm hungover or like shit's weird or maybe I'm just
Yeah.
depressed or whatever. Like um there the whole tour in 2017, it was January. I think it was January to like the beginning of January to the very end of February, or maybe the first week of March. We went out with Real Big Fish and Anti-Flag in 2017, and my dad had just passed away like 10 days before that tour. And
Yeah.
like right around Christmas, right after New Year's, I'm leaving for tour. And it was like the worst tour ever. Like I felt like every
Mhm.
show sucked. Like, so there's definitely moments like that where I'm just like, I don't even want to be here right now. That's where I wrote,
Yeah.
that's why I wrote I Don't Want to Go. I wrote that
Mhm.
song as a response to like my feeling. Like I don't fucking want to do this anymore. I don't want to talk to people. I don't want to go to merch.
Yeah.
I want to feel the pressure. I want to do what I want to do. I'm just gonna stay in the house. Why do we got to keep doing this shit? And so that's why I wrote that song. Um, so yeah, there's moments where you're just like, it can be weird, but for the most part, overall, I love being on
Yeah.
stage. I love playing. I love singing, having people sing the shit back to us. I love the vibe. I love people partying and you know having a great time to our music. It's a wonderful
Yeah.
feeling. But I'm human, so
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds about right. I guess my final thing would just be which song or songs should I slap on this episode? Whether it's Ballyhoo or even the new stuff from Aberrations. Do you have a feeling on that, or
yeah.
I don't know?
I'll play I don't know, play Mixtape. That's a great song. Like people love that song.
Uh,
I love that song.
that's a good
One of my
one.
favorite songs to play. Yeah, throw something from Aberrations on there if you want.
Yeah,
I like Ghost Tour and Aurora and Astrology are really cool songs for me.
cool. I'll definitely slap those on there then. I love personally Social Drinker and Marijuana Laws.
Oh, dude,
Always,
nice, man.
always stand out to me. But
Marijuana Laws, so cool. I haven't heard that song in a long time. Social Drinker, that one I was super proud of that when we
yeah,
put out, like it immediately crushed on the playlist and it just seemed to
yeah,
connect, so it's a fun song.
yeah, for sure.
I appreciate that, man.
Well, I'll let you get on with your day. Certainly feel free to send me that wave file. I'll send you my email and hopefully get this out within the next couple weeks. I still got a couple more episodes I gotta release before 100 here, but good luck on the next show dates. If I get this out before then, I'll definitely mention the dates on here or whatever your next shows are.
Hey,
So
man, thanks a lot for having me. I appreciate it, and again, congrats on 100 episodes. That's awesome.
thanks, dude. Keep doing what you're doing, man. Inspiring people.
Hey,
So I know I'm not the only one you're inspiring from talking to people. So
that means a lot to me, man. Thank you. That's so cool.
All right, dude. Well, I appreciate you coming on again, and have a good day.
You too, man. Take it easy.
All right, man. Take it easy.